Welcome everybody, or welcome back to Book and Sip. I am Erica, and this is Andrea.
And I
Oh
am a
my, it's a long day.
indeed.
And this is where we read some books and take some sips. And I actually went to a place called Chop House and tried their blood orange and ginger lemonade.
Um, yeah, I didn't even grab a drink. I'm failing. I'm gonna be like the Louisianans and drink my hot sauce.
See, see, this,
Leave
and I
it
don't know
at
about you. This week was long. This week was long for me.
yeah.
Like I said, this is a drink I got at lunchtime and didn't finish.
Oh wow. Okay.
You're the only one that's slipping. I was supposed to I intended on going to the grocery store because I really wanted some wine, and I saw how many people were at the grocery store when I got out of Ulta, and I was like,
It's the first. You know how they go.
I'm gonna go home and
Got them benefits we need to use up before they cut them off.
yes, yes. All right, we're at the end. Chapters 11 through 14. I feel
That was
like they crammed a lot into
a
a
lot in
lot of
four.
chapters. Like I feel like there should have been an extra four chapters actually.
Yeah, yeah, it was a lot
This is a lot. This was a lot.
indeed.
Okay, so chapter 11. In chapter 11, Ashley is back in LA and adjusting to being back at work while also making sure Alana and Simon are enrolled in school and have a nanny they like. Ashley calls Una almost every day, but with Ashley not being there, her insecurities start to flare back up. Una calls Gail to see how bad it is and decides to finally go back to the States to file for divorce and settle her affairs. So this is
Indeed.
everybody just kind of getting back to life. Ashley said it was like being in another world, going from the country of France to Los Angeles, and I bet it was,
Yes. Yes.
especially during COVID time.
And it literally was the calm before the storm. So this,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
not
This was the let's calm down, and then bam, chapter 12. Yeah, in chapter 12, Una got to work putting her life back together, talking to headhunters, deciding whether she wanted to sell the house in the Hamptons, and talking to divorce lawyers. Charles calls crying over the death of Roberto and saying he's coming home. Right after that call, Una's son called and says, "Hey, me and Heather eloped and now we're married and Una's living." A week later, Charles calls again, said he will be staying at the house since they are technically married. Una tells Charles she wants a divorce. Charles said he loves her, wants to try again, and Una went off on Charles and told him to stay elsewhere.
okay.
This
So
was
you
probably my favorite part that he went off.
this you already know. Like we're gonna spend the majority of our time talking about it.
Because this was a lot in chapter 12.
This is like let's start with the ease to the simple one first. So as I'm coming off the high or low of Charles' audacity, and then knowing that she gets this call from her son. I have one beautiful bouncing baby boy.
Yes, I was like, I can't comment on this, but you can.
And to know that you went off and married somebody that I've never heard of. Oh, well,
Nope, they
I
met.
guess I
Yeah.
met her, but I didn't know that you were discussing marriage. It was something you were focusing on or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I am floored, heartbroken, destroyed. Yeah.
So is it that he got married without you there, or the fact that he got married at all?
Okay, so a couple things happened
Because it
for
seemed like she was more mad about the fact that he got married at all because she felt like
that's
he was too
yeah.
young.
I think a couple things for Una that would be different if it was just me. I have never been married, so I of course likely would have some jealousy. I got married. I couldn't give it away. There's that. But for her, she's in the midst of this drama. She's seeing the downside of marriage, the most horrible part
Yes.
of marriage, the worst thing that can come out of it. And she's still in the middle of that. and her son is just starting. So she's like, "Don't you know how crazy this is? This stuff never works out. It didn't work out for me, so it can't work out for you," which is ridiculous.
Because she kept saying he was too young, and I was like, if I'm not mistaken, isn't this man 27?
I think he was like 24, right? She was 27.
But that's still not very
I mean,
young to
24
me.
is pretty young. You think about
It
who
is
you are
pretty young, but I
today.
feel like that's typical for marriage.
Um, define typical. I mean, I don't know. But
Because I like to think I got married really young.
you did. You got married very young.
Like if I could go back, I would probably have waited 2 or 3 years before getting married. And this is not a shot at my husband. I just know now, like what I know now, if I'd known it back then, I feel like it would have been better if I did wait a couple of years. I probably still would have married him, but I think we both were way too young. We know what marriage was.
No. Yeah. I mean, how do I know? I don't know what marriage is, but I don't think that you are. That's the other side of the coin, right? I don't think you're ever married. And what I will say, this scene with her and Ashley was very touching because he too, this is the difference of being in a storm and out of a storm. So he too had
Mm-hmm.
been married. It didn't work. They got divorced. He went through the same, why didn't this go? I thought this was
Right.
forever. Nobody gets married hoping that it ends. So he's telling her, like, you might be right, but one, you don't wish that on him, and two,
No.
it's your job to help him navigate places that you could have done better. He should be doing better. And then if it falls apart, then you're there. You want him to turn to you to pick things up.
And
And I was
not
like, that
be,
was
I told
so
you
great
so.
advice. That was such a great advice.
It was. Because it's like you can just be there for him and accept this, or you can shun him. And then if it does fall apart, he's not going to tell you
No.
because he
And then
doesn't want
he'll
the
really
I
be hurt.
told you so.
Right. But I think for me, it's the idea that you didn't invite me. Like,
And see, I feel like
I,
I'd been more upset about that. You didn't
I
invite me to your wedding.
yeah,
Like, yay, I'm happy you got married. That's great. But eh, you called and tell me over the phone too. You can
that
at
part,
least FaceTime me,
that part. And then, I mean, and to Ashley's credit, he said, well, the reason he didn't tell you because you would try to talk him out of it.
which is true.
I would, yes. No, don't do this.
See, that he's a neutral party. This is why you need that. You need that neutral party.
Yes, yes. Okay, so now can we talk about the nitty
Oh my
gritty?
gosh. What I'm telling you, and I post this on Instagram. I read that and practically threw my book across the room. Cause no.
Okay, so
And
a
then
couple things.
it was an aberration. That's what got me.
So a couple things going on right here. Can we
Okay.
just point out, because as I'm sitting here reading this section, he's calling her a boo and crying, the love of his life has died.
Yes.
Um, can we look at how we looked at Roberto's death totally different from Claire's death? Ashley, her new love interest, also had someone in his life that died that he loved.
Yes.
And we both of us last time sat here and said that was so heartbreaking. It was
And
so
it was.
sad. I feel bad for the kids. I didn't feel none of that
I didn't
when
feel anything
Roberto
from her
came to
though.
the bucket.
It was just like, damn, that happened.
Exactly.
I think my nephew is in there. Of course he is. This child just can't stay away. That's my nephew, and we love him. We love him. He made a guest appearance last time. He made a guest appearance now, and he's probably going to continue to make guest appearances, guys. So just get used to
Really sorry.
it.
Yes. So I felt none of that. And then I feel like a horrible person because somebody died. Somebody died.
Damn, it was Roberto.
I mean, it wasn't his fault. He's just a lot. Listen, he's just a man living his life.
Yes.
Got him a rich one on the hook. I'm not mad at Roberto for that.
Okay, you're
But
right. You're right.
but for
But
Una,
but
that's my
Charles
girl. We ride together. Una brought me to the
and
parties. I ride with Una till the wheels fall off.
I was glad she found her voice because even Charles was like, she's never sounded like this before. You pushed her to the edge.
I mean,
Talk about
okay,
I
so
love you. Let's
first,
try this again. Roberta was just an aberration. We can make this work, baby.
okay, because there, okay, let the readers, I don't know how far y'all have gotten, but if y'all didn't get to this part. So first he calls boohooing crying. The man has died and he's heartbroken.
Yes.
The man's family doesn't even know the lifestyle that they have. He had to move out, get his stuff out the apartment, um, and live in a hotel until he could figure out if he got COVID or not before he could come home. So then there's that. Then there's this second conversation where he is like, okay, but that other thing that I had going on, it fell apart. So can I come back, boo? You go.
Yeah.
I know you ain't got nothing else going on. You could just move over. I'm coming home, baby. Move over.
I don't
And
want you to
she's
think,
like,
someone's burglarizing the house. And she's like, why would I think someone's burglarizing the house? Because I'm coming to the no, no.
and the audacity of him because I meant to go find it, but he called her Uni. He called her Uni.
I missed that.
Yes, you did. Because I said, wait a minute. That man did not call her Uni. That's what Simon calls her. No, 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 no. That man called her Uni in the middle of this. But Uni, we can work it out. No, we cannot work it out. Sir, sir, sir. You like men. And that
And
is
then she
okay.
just went, I'm
But
sorry.
I'm
I'm
not.
sorry Roberto died. I'm sorry he died. It didn't work out. But you can't come back because he's gone.
And the it and okay. I don't maybe it was 13. Is 13 when he shows up at the house?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna save my comment about what happened in 13. But the ideal for him to call and act like that, duh, once I'm done, once my playtime is over with, you're supposed to be sitting here waiting on me. What do you mean no?
And I have a lot to say about 13 too. Because I know what part you're talking about. I know. So we've said our piece about
Yes.
this fool
Oh my God.
and his technically married
But I knew it was gonna happen.
BS.
I knew he was gonna crawl back. But I did not expect Roberto to die. And I do feel bad because I was not sad that Roberto died. I feel
Yeah, I
bad
didn't
for
expect Roberto to
Roberto's
die either.
parents. I feel bad for his brother, but I do not feel bad for Roberto.
And then you can't even go to the funeral because what you gonna say? I'm Roberto's lover, his old dusty decrepit
The
lover.
whole situation was terrible and toxic. The whole thing.
Okay, in chapter 13, what happened in this chapter too? Giles came by the house and proceeded to beg for Una back, and got mad about her possibly having someone else. Una goes to East Hampton's house to the East Hampton house and decides to close the chapter on that life and sell the house, her half of the house. Later that night, Una gets a call from Heather saying Will has COVID. He's in the ICU. Una flies to San Francisco to be with Heather as they wait to hear about Will. Will pulls through, and Una decides life is too short. Obviously, everybody's dying, and goes to LA to be with Ashley. Now, this first part, I thought he had audacity in chapter 12. But she sat there and said, is there another man? And got mad about it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You left. I'd be
Exactly.
like, yes, 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 there's another man. Big and
There's
black and all
18 other men. There's 9,922,000 other men.
that aren't gay.
Tons of them. They're all around. I blink and they're just
They're
falling
just
out.
there.
I you're
Talk about it does matter. You left, sir. You left. I didn't leave. You left. You left with another man for a year, and then came back when this dude died.
Mhm.
Get out of my
So
face.
this is where I got mad. So I was my flabber was gasted in chapter 12 because I was like, okay, so the audacity. But 13 is what sent me over the edge because when he shows up at the house, I didn't even get upset because he was mad somebody else might have been tasting the,
I got
whatever
upset
Una
about
got
that.
going on.
Well, what
What
bothers you?
set me off was when he started talking about how she was the how where he wanted to be And every time he opened his mouth to say something, he went back to say, but Roberto, and poor Roberto, but you and I can work this out. But oh, Roberto, that whole everything that he said,
Yes.
he opened his mouth and came back to, but Roberto and Roberto.
Me
So let's
Roberto is gonna go to East Hampton. Me Roberto is gonna do the
right. So let's all remember the email that Una got about she needs to teach and train Roberto to be the perfect housewife like she was.
Mhm.
Because he wants to party all night. And then Roberto kicks the bucket. He wants to come back to his maid, his servant, his
Yes.
personal assistant. That's what had me mad, ready to say, okay,
And then you're gonna leave me in my
we
time of
just
need.
give Charles COVID? Can we just give Charles COVID? Can we just give it to him? I'm tired of Charles. Charles has to go. Bye, Charles.
Charles needs to disappear.
Completely. And then poor Will.
And see, no, one more thing bothered me about this. When he said, you wanna do the you wanna divorce me at a time like this? Sir, you brought this up on Thanksgiving and then told the kids on Christmas. And you want to talk about my timing? You had a whole
Right.
year to bring this up.
Sir, sir, it sounds like you need to go back wherever it is that you've been and mourn for your boo and get your mind right because this love don't live here no more. Mm-mm. No.
No.
I mean, Charles was a character. Indeed,
Oh,
Charles was the audacious Charles. That is who he is.
like we need another word for audacity. Like he's so far beyond that one. We need another. I need a thesaurus, and I need another word for
Mm,
that.
let's see,
What
Dr. Google.
the sheer ignorance, the sheer I don't know. Give me another word. We're about to expand our vocabulary today because I need something else to describe this 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 chaos that just took place in this man's mind.
Temerity. Temeritus, Gall,
Gall. There we go. That's a good one. The gall of this man.
imprudence.
See, guys, now we have a whole list. You don't have to use Audacity anymore. Now, poor Will. Poor Will. I
And
thought he was gonna die. I
I
did.
did too. I did too.
That just based on the
And
trend of the book, I was like, oh, not Will, not little, not
right.
Will.
I did too. And then I thought, like, and again, it just brought it back to how I had no empathy for poor Roberto and all the empathy for Will and Claire and everybody, but I felt nada
Because
for
we don't
poor
need to.
Roberto.
No, no. But I felt it for Will. I felt it for Will.
I felt it for Heather too. I mean,
Right?
I just knew that this was going to be the thing where Una now has lost her son after being upset and mad that he went off and got
I
married.
know.
The last conversation they had, and now she has just a daughter-in-law that she's going to adopt and take care of. I just felt like this is
That
terrible.
was it. That was it.
Any
I
other
was like, if this
failure than
happens,
this for me.
I'm gonna cry
Yeah,
because now I get my happily ever after and everybody's dead.
yeah.
Like you
Shakespeare
want to
and
talk about some survivor's guilt? I couldn't do it. I'm like, actually, I can't be with you. Okay, I got too much guilt now. My son died. My husband's lover died. Your wife died.
yeah, what's going on here?
I just need to I need to go and sit in this apartment. I need to go back to Charles, where I'm miserable.
Indeed.
All right. In chapter 14, Una realizes that being with Ashley is not as crazy. I forgot, not as crazy as she thought it would be, and she fits perfectly in his life with his kids. Ashley and Una and his kids take a trip to Tobago, where Una is surprised by her own kids popping out of the boat and joining them. Ashley plans on proposing to Una after her divorce is finalized and buying her La Belle Florence as a wedding gift. Where are these men at?
Okay, so as you know, I believe in staying on character. And once I pick a side, it's picked. I'm not a flip-flopper. So
Okay.
I'm just gonna put this here. I told Una to sit her tail down, and I meant it. She not even divorced, she done left her whole life over there in New York, went over to LA trying to find some chasing some man so she could be his knew a personal assistant running after his kids like the babysitter because she ain't got no job.
At least she getting some though.
I mean,
And I mean, he just bought me a
saying it's
house.
not benefits, but I'm sticking with my point. It's too early. She needs to give it some time and not be running off and running after this man.
This is true. This is true. So I'm not 100% on your side. And I was like, you know what? We're gonna go to the next one because I think you just said your point, which was what did you love? And then the next one is what did you hate? So the story in general um was okay. I did love that Una found her voice in the end. And I love Ashley Rowe. Not knocking Ashley Rowe. That was probably the two main things I loved about the book. I did love the writing and the description of everything. How she described stuff was fantastic. Love that the book took place in France. The book being placed in COVID did give me a little PTSD. Yeah, so those were some of the things that I loved about the book. What about you? Let's not go
Okay,
to the hate part yet.
well, so the number one thing I liked about the book was the plot. I loved it. She's
Yes,
happily married, gets bombarded on a holiday that her husband is not just cheating, but leaving her for a younger man. And
yes.
then her whole world falls apart. I loved it. Sorry.
It was an excellent plot. It was even knowing the plot, reading it out loud was just like, is this really happening?
Really
And when he
happening.
said younger, I was thinking like 10. That's normally that's my go-to number when I think, oh, I'm dating a younger man. My automatic go-to is 10 years younger. I
Yeah.
never think half an age younger.
Yes. Yes.
Like 10 is probably the youngest I would couldn't even go 10 years. I couldn't date someone 23.
Mm. Uh,
No, no, I couldn't. I couldn't.
well,
Like, could you date someone half your age?
child makes my head itch thinking about it. No, the stress. You just saw my crumb snatcher come through here, begging to play chess. Why are we trying to record? No, I got two of them. No, no, thank you. No, I want me an old man.
Okay, now you can get into everything you hated about the book.
I didn't really okay, the fact of the matter, I did not hate anything about this book. Um it had to end the way it ended. I mean, let's just be real. It's not good. The book was supposed to be a love story. She finds she's coming of age, no matter that age is kind of up there. But she's coming of age. She realizes she can stand on her own, and there is life after heartbreak. Like it's a great Danielle still. I love it. So I did not hate anything about the book except for Charles himself. Just throw the whole Charles away. But
Actually,
without him, there would
was
be no book.
there is no there was actually something I did hate about the book. And it kind of borders on your point. Now, I did like the fact that she ended up with Ashley Rowe. I have nothing against that. I thought she went at the perfect pace. I thought they went at the perfect pace, especially since she didn't feel any connection with Charles for at least 2 years. So I thought that was fine. What bothered me is it seemed like she never got any other parts of her life back together.
Facts.
So that's what bothered me. I'm like, okay, so you're with Ashley. What are you doing for work now? Like, do you have your own place now? Are you living with him? Like your life just seemed to be thrown into Ashley's without you getting your own type of independence together. So that's what I hated about the book. It revolved around her trying to perfectly fit into Ashley's world instead of let me create my world and I'll join you. So that's what
Right.
bothered me about the book. There was no I feel like in her own life there was no real progress besides the fact that she's dating this actor.
Valid.
So that's what I hated about. That's what bothered me about the book. I expected more from her, being a high end editor and publisher and stuff. I expected more. I expected her to I'm gonna buy my own publishing company or something. I don't know. I expected to see some girl power and I didn't see it, and that bothered me.
Because her and Gail could have went off into the sunset.
Yes, and I saw no girl power and no, so no black girl magic.
Okay.
white girl magic, whatever you want to call it. So that's the only thing. Okay, book rating. We gave this book a 3 out of 5, which means it is not a bookshelf book. We're in our second book. We have not found our bookshelf book. Remember, in order for it to be a bookshelf book, it has to be at least a 4 out of 5. The last book was 3.5. This one was a 3. Feel like we're going down. We need a winner on our next book.
Um, yeah, I don't have high hopes on that either, but
Then we
what I
need to
will
we need to
say,
rebook our February book then. I need a winner.
yeah, okay. What I will say is I think this was a great book. 3 out of 5 is a like I like the book. One is it was not a good book. Two, it was a decent book. Three, I like the book. Four and five, you got to impress me. And I think I I love Miss Steele. She did a wonderful. The writing was perfect. The plot was juicy. I liked it. To me, it just needed a little bit more seasoning on them spicy scenes. That's all I was missing. But I don't think Miss Steele gets down like that. So
Get down
she's
like that,
a lot
which is
wholesome.
fine. Which is fine.
It's
Like I
fine.
said, my thing was still was she just seemed like she never found herself, and that bothered me. But the reason why it has to be 4 out of 5 is because my bookshelf is tiny.
Uh,
Only the best goes on that bookshelf.
all right.
Yes, it's not a big bookshelf.
One day you're gonna have to tell us what is on the bookshelf right now so we can do some comparison.
I can tell you right now, the whole Ember and the Ashes series is on the bookshelf.
Is that
Yeah,
Jennifer Arenstam? Arenstam? Who's Ember in the Ash?
I'm looking at it right now. No, it's not Jennifer. I can't see it from here.
Oh, Sabotage. Okay, to hear. I have not read it. That one is on my list.
Yeah, it's 4 books, and they were all fantastic.
Okay.
And Children of Blood and Bone series is on my list too,
Okay.
on my bookshelf too. I am halfway through the third book.
I mean, okay, so let's be clear here because you're picking some very high, those two things are very high fantasy series books. These cozy things that we're reading is not going to get you there.
Okay, I do have one of my book on my bookshelf. It was my January book pick, and I am going to bring that up because I did give that one 4.5 out of 5 stars. It
Okay.
was fantastic. I'm going to bring it up in the next video
All
because
right.
we're going to talk about Dre's January book picks and my January book picks. Things we read in January along with the Daniel Steele's book. So Drea is Miss Read Everything, apparently, because she beat me by like 4 books. I only read 3 books in January. She apparently read like 13,
Like seven
somewhere
and
around
like
there.
I did a lot of TV watching, which I normally do not do. So I have a high reading goal set for myself for the year, so I need to
You
pick it up.
do. Isn't it like 500 books?
Like 140 books
See, that's at least 10 books a month.
at least. I'm
My goal is
carving
not that high. My goal is not that high. Yes. So we're gonna come back. We're gonna go over Dre's January picks, my January picks. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to us, and we'll see you guys next weekend. Oh, we're already in February.
All right, it's February 1.
It's
We've got a
February
new book.
1st.
We've got a new book that Erica is gonna make it a 4 so she can put it on the bookshelf.
Ah, ah, mm, I
It
don't.
might be the best written short, cozy love story that we've ever because it has to be a love story. It's Valentine's Day.
It does. It does. And then we exclusively do romances anyways. So I mean, we'll see. We'll
We'll see.
see.
We'll
We
see.
may end up picking a different book. So I have a feeling that the book we picked is not gonna be it's not gonna be it. Are we gonna have to pick a different book?
We'll think about it.
Okay, okay. I
If
guess
you
we'll
have
see you.
suggestions, maybe you have suggestions. Put them in the.
Put them in the comments.
Well,
Let us know.
we haven't bought
Because
the book, so we're not married to it. So
and we're gonna take y'all along with us when we go around and pick out some books to read. So we'll
yep.
see you guys next time, guys. Bye.